I'm old, and I called my insurance guy to check on Medicare. Hey, you know, if I'm on the best plan, well, it's Toby Harrison?
Hanson?
Hanson?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And,
a sponsor of GermanFest. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's what and I said, I left him a message about just wanting to make sure, and then he called me back and I said, first off, I heard your name as a sponsor for GermanFest,
Yeah.
and I want you to know how much we appreciate it.
Yeah,
And he was like, wow, yeah. And that's the kind of thing that I know in my youth I wouldn't have taken the time to do.
Yeah.
Hi, it's Gary Gillett, and I got nothing to do, and Scott thought maybe I got lonely or something like that, so he put some stuff together, and look who's here, this Heather Adams. All right, and I think that we're both doing this for free. She came anyway, but you know, she's got professional responsibilities with Arts Missoula.
Yes.
I did study up on that one, Heather. Heather Adams, who is Executive Director, Poubette of Arts Missoula. And we're going to find out what the heck that's about, because most of us, even those of us in the arts in Missoula forever, I don't know, I know so little about it. And I'm embarrassed by that, but then I didn't do my research because I was going to, if I don't know it, then certainly, certainly Meg doesn't know it. Meg, are you watching this? So, Heather, who are you? Where you from? Who are you? I got no
Why
clue.
are you here? Why did you show up today?
Scott called you. Arts Missoula, but who are you? I'd like to know.
Well, thanks for having me.
You're
and
welcome.
Scott, thanks for asking me. I'm really happy to be here and talk with you.
Good.
Who am I? Let's see. I could identify a lot of different ways. A dancer.
That's how I knew you.
Yes. A lot of people know me that way. You might know me as a director, choreographer. I used to run the Downtown Dance Collective for
We had a gig
13 years.
until the COVID. We had a gig lined out. You were going to dance.
Sorry.
I did a program for my mother. I'm trying to think of it was Copeland.
Yeah.
It was a Copeland piece, and we had it worked out that Heather was going to choreograph that piece and do an immersion of the community band and a live dance at the same time. And then the COVID hit, and then we ended up having to do the gig late out at Bonner Park, and there's no decent stage.
Yeah.
All right, that's how I know you.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
Well, I actually, I was born in Huntington, West Virginia.
West by God, Virginia, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. My mother and father were not brother and sister.
Okay, cousins?
No.
Okay.
No, not even
Because that's the only other state in the country you can marry your cousin, besides us. And I'm not sure about that, but that's what I say.
Yeah. There are many Adams over there.
Virginia.
West Virginia, yep. But we moved to Phoenix when I was 5. So I really grew up in Phoenix.
Okay.
Went to school in Philadelphia, the University of the Arts for dance.
Ooh.
And I know, very hoi polloi.
Ooh, I guess.
I wanted to be back east, and then I moved to New York City because that's all I ever wanted to do as a dancer. It's where you want to be.
Sure.
And then I followed a guy to Missoula, and I was going to be here for about 6 months, and I moved here at the very end of August and auditioned for a part at MCT. Got a part as a dumb blonde in the show called Noises Off. And I know, me, crazy. And then fell in love with MCT, fell in love with Missoula. You know, my 6-month stay turned into now 24 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So, but you were a serious dancer through all your youth. To be able to catch a dance school like that, you were with a company, or at least studying with the right people down in Phoenix.
In Phoenix, yeah. I I got really lucky. I had a lot of really great opportunities. I started at Phoenix School of Ballet, which was a conservatory, but their whole intention was to make professional dancers. So
Yeah.
I actually joined Ballet Arizona as an apprentice when I was 14, and danced there.
And
I was
doing
in
all
a,
the serious stuff, legit stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. And then I was in a flamenco company, toured South and Central America, which something
cool.
a lot of people don't know. I don't do much performance anymore, but used to. And then I wanted to get my degree. You know, there was a sort of a sliding doors moment. I actually snuck off my senior year of high school. No, I think it was my sophomore. No, it was my sophomore year of high school. I snuck off to Los Angeles to audition for In Living Color. You remember the Flag Girls?
Yeah.
Yeah, J-Lo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I auditioned. They offered me the job.
Oh, but then your parents found out.
They called my mom. They called my mom. She didn't know I had gone. I don't know where I said I was, but they called my mom and said, oh, we'd like to offer her this opportunity. It was like I had to do like another round of audition. But she said, oh, well, she's 16. And they're like, oh, well, she told us she was 18. Oops. Anyway, so I was like, well, maybe I'll go to college instead of being a fly girl.
Crawl home. Oh, man.
Oh, that was awful.
And were you paying the bills in New York with your dance?
Yeah, with being a waitress. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't pay the bills with
Right away. Most people.
Dance
don't,
is
right?
Dance is a very tricky profession. It's hard to make money as a dancer.
Sure.
In ballet, modern, sort of in company dance. It's
More so than a musician in New York?
Oh,
Is it?
absolutely. Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, with musicians, there's more gigs. I mean,
Yeah.
you can sit in with bands, you can sub. With dancing, it's not really like a gig kind of thing. In Arizona, I used to do like industrials.
Okay.
So I'd get hired by Goodyear
Corporate.
Tires. Yeah, right. And we would do
Dance
something
around
for
their
their
tires with
convention.
the kids.
Yes.
Yep.
Karl Lagerfeld. I did a gig with them. When they introduced their new cologne. What was it called?
Line.
Photo. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. And we did Vogue, but it was photo. Oh my gosh.
Oh, good.
So,
and no
yeah.
one knows. Well, I suspect that this is news for everybody. It's
Yeah,
fun to
probably.
find out who you are.
Yeah.
And then, Arts Missoula.
Yeah.
It changed its name somewhere around
Yeah.
half a dozen years ago.
Yeah.
It used to be something else.
Missoula Cultural Council.
That was it.
Yeah.
And where is it? Did they just change names? I'm wondering what is the mission goal and
Mm-hmm.
where's funding come from?
Yeah. The mission is to advocate, celebrate, and educate. So we're the local art agency of Missoula. So we do a lot of things that are running in the background a lot of people might not know,
Yeah.
right? So we just completed a study with Americans for the Arts to calculate how the arts impact the local economy, right? So like when you go to a performance, let's say at MCT, you might go to dinner, you might pay a babysitter, maybe you go shopping for a new, coat or something. So these events have this ripple effect, this doubling and tripling effect on the economy. So Arts Missoula works with Americans for the Arts and has for their last 6 surveys to spend an entire year going to performances and surveying people.
And people out there with check pads and
Yeah.
asking questions.
Yeah,
wanting
yep,
us to
yep.
weigh in about how much we spent. And
Yep.
then the information we get back is always so alarming. Like, well, are you kidding me? We have that kind of a effect because as
Yeah.
artists, we just, I just see what's in front of me. I see an audience. I don't think about money or things beyond. I'm just making art. But it takes an agency to get that broad
data.
view.
Yeah. Yeah, and the idea is that, then now we have the results. We just got them like a week ago, actually. So now we'll get back out into the business and community and say, hey, when you sponsor an organization, you may not think of it as, your $1,000 sponsorship, you only feel like that's $1,000. But what that organization does is it's place making, it's community making, and it has major, major impacts on the economy. I mean, Missoula wouldn't be the place that it is without the arts
Most
and
certainly.
culture scene that we have.
And we couldn't afford to live here if it wasn't for willing folks to be able to donate funds that they have.
Yeah.
Like I called, I'm old, and I called my insurance guy to check on Medicare. Hey, you know, if I'm on the best plan, well, it's Toby Harrison?
Hanson,
Hanson?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And,
a sponsor of GermanFest. Yeah.
Yes, and that's what,
Yeah.
and I said, I left him a message about just wanting to make sure, and then he called me back, and I said, first off, I heard your name as a sponsor for GermanFest,
Yeah.
and I want you to know how much we appreciate it.
Yeah,
And he
thank
was
you.
like, wow, yeah. And that's the kind of thing that I know in my youth I wouldn't have taken the time to do.
I thought, yeah.
Yeah. And he steers
for
me in the
doing
right
that.
direction.
Yeah.
You know, that I also, there's a transaction going on there, but to let him know that we notice.
Yeah.
And if I notice, and I'm pretty clueless, if I notice that there are thousands of people
Yeah.
that pay more attention.
Yeah.
Where's funding come from? How does this agency exist?
Make
Is
it work, yeah.
City, council?
Yes, and all the things. Yeah, yes, we're funded in part by the City Council, City of Missoula. Sponsorships through our events, right? I mean, we have, you know, a couple of major events throughout the year, so sponsorships. And grants, you know, just like other nonprofits.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And was there anything before? When I first moved to town 35 years ago, something like that, I don't think there was an agency, an overarching. And was Tom the originator? Did he bring the idea?
No, I actually ran across, I was going through Tom's computer
Okay.
and
The former director of the Missoula Arts.
Yes, Tom Benson, who retired, and feel incredibly lucky to try to step into his shoes, or at least walk alongside his shoes. But there was a document created in, gosh, I think it was like 1989, called The Fabric of Missoula. And in this document were names, probably 45, 50 names of people who gathered for a period of time to assess the arts in Missoula. And it was sort of like at the beginning, I mean, it was a strategic plan in a way. You know, what do we need? How do we need to support what we need? How do we get there? You know, I don't know what happened with that document per se, but it was out of those conversations that the Missoula Cultural Council started, as we got going in 1991. So yeah, so we started out of that, and so, you know, Arts Missoula now. You know, has looked like a lot of different things in 30 plus years, but, you know, we do what we can. I mean, the overarching thing is that we do what we can to advocate and celebrate artists in Missoula and culture, right? I mean, you know, we're trying to be, you know, increasingly even more aware of, you know, the multitude of cultures that are present in our community and doing what we can to lift them up.
And how to do it right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Geez. All right. So you've
Yeah.
got some programs that we want to promote that you've got coming. Well,
Yeah.
first off, I want to. That I'm involved in the GermanFest, and it's just so much fun.
No, he is German.
And we this year we danced around with old Spike there down at GermanFest, and once he gets going, he's a wealth of entertainment. That's for sure. And it was fun. It's fun every year to touch base with him, and then the event. And the event was huge this time, and just got lucky with
Beautiful weather.
Just got
Oh my
so
gosh.
lucky.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about today's thing with the
Yeah.
Day of the Dead. I'm thinking, oh, it's going to be wet and
Yeah.
cold, and that's
Yeah.
those are the kinds of chances we take, and you
Yeah.
just got lucky.
Yeah,
Right?
we did. It was beautiful.
And the weekend before
Was awful.
horrible. Gosh, and I love being outside when I can be.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many advantages to being outside. We used to, with the city band, we used to always rehearse inside. And then during COVID, we're pushed outside. If we were going to continue,
Right.
we had to. And so it was like, well, what do we do? Well, I had to rehearse it where we perform, and
Right.
I never gave that a thought, ever gave it a thought.
Mm-hmm.
And then once we did it, it was like, oh my God,
Makes so
once or
much
twice
sense.
a summer, it's cool, or maybe I got to wear a coat, or maybe
Yeah.
it drips on me. But when after the COVID went away,
Mm-hmm.
that I'm not even thinking about going back inside, because
Yeah.
in the middle of rehearsal, I can just turn around and take a look at Mount Sentinel. I'm outside
Mm-hmm.
during summertime. That's where most of us here in Missoula want to be.
Yeah, you
Oh.
got to soak it up as much as you can.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Hey, so you got a youth program, Grow Missoula,
Yeah.
something like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
It's not just string players, though did it start with strings? And that's okay if it did.
Oh.
I raised a string player too.
Do you know where you put them?
Yeah, yes, he played metal
Raised-
now.
Oh, good job.
Yeah, yeah. Gee.
So one of the functions that we serve is as a fiscal sponsor. So and a fiscal sponsor is basically an incubator. Let's say you have an arts idea project, sort of something that's kind of small. You need a place to get guidance, some organizational help. We don't offer financial assistance per se, but we become their bookkeeper.
Okay, expertise. Okay.
Yeah, and
the business
aspect. The
of it.
business aspect, and we kind of help get them on their feet. And so we've had a lot of groups over the years. Mama was actually one of
Okay.
them. But yeah, you're talking about Grow Music Missoula, Jessica Catron.
Okay.
So she's one of our fiscal sponsees. And she's doing incredible work. I mean, her mission is to get scholarships to kids who want to be string players because it's an expensive. Yeah, yeah, you remember?
Oh man,
Yeah.
I kept buying. Oh, I bought I started with a quarter-size cello.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it got expensive right quick.
Yeah, yeah, yep. So she's raising money for scholarships for lessons for kids.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah.
And now, New Year's Eve, you've changed your orientation and the name of the event.
Yeah.
What is it now?
Yes. So it was called First Night, and now it's called Missoula on Main. And certainly a lot of people have asked me, why did we change the name? And, you know, it was a lot of things, but, you know, 2021 for New Year's Eve was rough, right? I mean, you know, the event in the mid-90s was 100 events all over town, university, you know, out to the fairgrounds. And so it had gotten really, really big in the mid-90s. And then post-2000, it kind of just did this sort of up and down thing. And so, you know, by the time we get to 2021 with COVID, we had one event. It was online. You know, it was the singing spotlight, the teenager singing competition. And so last year, this is my first year on the gig, right, with Arts Missoula, and I'm trying to come from that.
Sure.
You know, like, okay, how do we revitalize this event? So it needed a lot. Sponsors had moved away. Performers weren't necessarily coming back. You know, so I mean, it was almost like starting
over again.
Over
because
in a lot of
many of
ways.
us artists and ensembles especially, it just totally died, and then so many of us have not come back.
Yeah.
I've watched groups that were happening and they're unable to get it back together. Or if they do, they're limping along with a fraction of what they used to have of people. That so many folks have just decided that it's just not worth going out anymore for anything, for rehearsal, to attend an event, and it's still we're still suffering with that, aren't we?
I think so. I mean, the data that we just received back from this economic impact study suggests that we're definitely on the
rise.
Yes, you know, it's coming back, right? I mean, it's but I think that most producers, most you know, arts organizations would tell you that they're still, you know, they're still having to claw a little bit to get people there. But you know, I was just at Young Frankenstein, you know, at MCT last weekend, and it was a packed house, and it was great. So it's happening. People are coming back. But this event really needed some new life.
Yeah, and
so
a reworking instead of just trying to revive it, but to give it a new direction.
Give it a new direction, and a lot of feedback I received early on, and actually felt myself as a first night. You know, I've performed in First Night, you know, we were a venue at the DDC for a long time, but then also just as a person who would go, feedback I got was like, it's hard to get in your car and go to a place, get in your car again, go to another place, get in your car, go to another place. And so I'm obsessed with Main Street. I just think it's cool. It's, you know, it's the arts corridor, right? I mean, you've got the symphony and MCT, now the library and Zach, you know, even Headwaters Foundation, right? I mean, it's all sort of along this corridor, and I thought, wouldn't it be cool if we could really just focus the attention? You park your car once, you know, and then you can cruise up and down the street. You know, the United Methodist Church is an amazing location. We've got the Elks, you know, back online last year because that space had kind of gone dormant for a while.
And what a great venue it
it's
can
awesome.
be.
Yeah. So we're back in there again, and so that was the idea. And a lot of people have also asked about the buttons. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about the buttons.
I mean, people want the buttons.
They do, yes. Well, maybe it's not even about the
memorabilia.
Yeah.
Really.
Memorabilia, but I also think, you know, you bought one button and then it got you into everything, right? So there was some ease there. But there were a lot of reasons why that was really tough. I mean, you've got to make the buttons, you've got to distribute the buttons, and then you've got to get, you know, and that's like all the way down the Bitterroot, all the way up Sealy Swan. I mean, it's pretty labor intensive. And also, it just didn't really cover the cost of the event. So we had to shift that too. So, but this year, super excited. We're going to give away a ton of tickets for showcases, but most of the events are free because we've gotten enough sponsors to get excited about what we're doing.
And as being a performer in it, and also as a parent, I take my kids there, family, and then I always go to events that of friends or new things that I haven't seen yet. And some folks would like to have a cocktail in between. And it was always don't you come to my. I remember taking my trombone players and wagging my finger at them. Don't you show up to this gig drunk? You're gonna blow it for us. And it was always a little tiptoeing going on. We handle it fine, but it's nice to no longer have that be the huge speed bump that gets in the way of folks participating on either side.
Yeah, and we're not serving alcohol. It's still pretty much an alcohol-free event.
Yeah.
It's just that the Union Club happens to be a really great place for a dance class.
Yeah.
So we had tango and salsa in there, and the Union does what the Union does. Yeah. But they've got a really great dance floor, and it was right downtown. So we're now just activating some spaces. Even the Zach always has a bar. So we're not promoting it, but we're also not,
it's very
trying
family,
to.
It's very family
Absolutely,
friendly.
still family friendly. Oh, and then and this year we have a partnership with the 4th D Club, and they are a recovery group, and so they work with different types of recovery groups. So we will have actually a substance-free dance, like with the DJ, and we'll have food, and so there will be like an intentional midnight if you want a substance-free experience.
Okay.
That can be there too.
Okay, nice to have choices.
Yeah.
And what's the other things you do during the year? Is there a list
I
of?
sit on the couch and eat bonbons most days. So, I mean, really, getting here today was kind of a big deal.
I took a shower.
I did too.
And people.
Good thing you don't have smell-o-vision because we smell great.
We do.
Yeah.
And people, probably won't watch all this that we've been talking about, but people watch the first 2 minutes for his graphics. Suddenly
skills.
it's Batman graphics.
Nice.
The survey. I remember seeing people out at city band concerts doing surveys. And is it you and someone? Is it just you? Is Missoula Arts you?
No, there's 3 of us on staff.
Okay.
But we have an incredible board. I mean, they are just
This
off the
vision,
charts.
Right?
Their vision, their support, they're really incredible.
Cool.
And then there's a bunch of committees as well. So there's a lot of people that are involved. And then of course, our volunteers throughout the year. I mean, it's really like an army of, quite a few. But yeah, on staff, we're pretty trim. So, but I'd like to change that. But because there's a lot more that we could do. But I think you're going to ask, what else do we do?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people think that we make First Friday happen, but we don't. We don't. It's a beautiful organic thing that would happen regardless of our input or not. But we do help to promote it, and we help advertise it. So we spend quite a bit of money, in various platforms, making sure that people know about First Friday. And in the new year, we're coming out with an app that will help guide you around First Friday. And so you'll be able to see events, and you'll be able to see like what special things are doing, and hopefully you'll have an opportunity to get coupons for things downtown. So that's coming out soon.
So is that tomorrow? Today's Thursday right now. Is there First Friday tomorrow?
That is tomorrow. I know.
I don't get down as much as I used
That's
to.
okay.
I'm on the couch.
Yeah, that's okay. But we now have a gallery space at the Wren.
Okay.
So the Missoula Art Museum does public art on display in many buildings. Inside the Wren lobby, the art museum has work, but then they have like a smaller sort of a meeting space.
Okay.
And Arts Missoula curates the work in there. So we do First Fridays in there now.
I've got to get. I haven't been inside the Wren yet.
It's a cool spot.
And it's still it's owned by the Elks. That
the land
the
is.
land is, yeah, and that's an interesting. You know, we were affiliated with the between the Union Club because we were a union band. Before I took over the city band, it was a union band. So everything was union, and then we just walked to the Elks and had a good arrangement with them to be able to rehearse there. And then before it was the union, we owned the Missoula. A Federation of Musicians own that. It's a beauty place right outside the door of the Union Club. I think it's called a telephone company now. It's a beautiful white building.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
That was built as the American Federation of Musicians.
Oh, get up.
And
I did not know that.
as record sales declined, because that's where we get a little piece of the record sales. And as that declined, they spent all the money until they lost the building.
Oh, shoot.
And then many of our, we used to have a musicians union downstairs, along with a number of other locals and it got, clubs just decided not to go union musicians anymore. So we have one in the state. We have, our stuff got all sent over to Helena, and we have one pretend union in our area, and I haven't played a union gig for
I did not
20
even
years.
know that there were union musicians.
We used to
anywhere. Well,
we used to, and we're not
Montana,
union musicians. We're just locals, but we pay dues and do union gigs.
Now, do you wish that there was still a union?
No, that was one of the things that I need to change because it just wasn't being administered for the benefit of Missoula, for Missoula and for musicians. It just didn't, it no longer fit. The model didn't fit us anymore.
Gotcha.
We're just too small a town to make that happen, and record sales used to drive it.
Right.
And
That's
once
changed.
kids started stealing music offline, all that changed.
Oh, Napster.
Yep, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Wow. Anything else you want to add to the conversation? I think that you nicely made my screen stay, but I think I remembered stuff.
I know you didn't look at it once.
I finally put my glasses on. I have a steel trap for memory.
Oh, yeah.
Do you miss not dancing? Well, you've turned into an administrator.
I know.
And
this
how
is
is that?
Career number 4, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Short answer is yes. Yes, I do. I get to do Spark, so I still work with middle schoolers doing swing dance, which I love. I made a promise to myself that if I got this job with Arts Missoula, that I really wanted to dive in 100%. And I've spent a lot of time, well, really my entire life, being an independent contractor, going from gig to gig, and stringing together 74 jobs,
to be able to pay the rent.
To be able to pay for my college loans, So I thought it was just such a blessing to have
some stability.
one job.
Yeah.
And that did mean saying no to a lot of other things.
Sure.
But so now, I'm slowly pulling stuff back in. I'll be choreographing Beauty and the Beast at MCT this spring. I'm going to choreograph for Bearbait Dance is doing a show called 40 over 40. I'm over 40.
Oh, I wasn't going to ask.
It's fine. I don't care. I have earned the knowledge that is in here, so I think it's good to say
it's okay.
Yeah. I'm starting to bring it back in. So it's okay. It's we progress as humans, right?
Yeah, we try different things, and some fit and some don't fit as well.
Yeah.
Well, hey kids. It's this Arts Missoula, and now I know what's going on. Hopefully you do as well. They got some things coming up. The First Fridays tomorrow. We'll see how quickly Scott can get this edited up. Sometimes he surprises me. But New Year's Eve is a next big event that they're involved in. And if you're wondering what's going on, give the lady a buzz or send her an email. It'd be great. Hey, thanks for tuning in. It's Gary Gillett in Missoula. Oh, music in Missoula. Is that what we call this sketch? I think so. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time. Be cool. Thanks.